We talked about stock dividends. Now remember that dividends can either be stock, cash, or product. Product would be unusual, but possible. And if the dividends are in stock, then they're treated a little bit differently. Now this is slightly different than your reinvested dividends and capital gains in a mutual fund. With stock dividends, what happens is it doesn't really adjust your cost basis for your overall investment, but it does change the cost basis per share. It's also very similar to a stock split from a tax standpoint, meaning that what? You have, after a stock dividend, you have more shares, but you have the same cost basis, which means your cost per share goes down. And an important point here is that your stock dividends are not taxable when they are distributed. They are taxable when they are sold. Now let's talk about a stock split, since we just mentioned that. So we have forward splits and we have reverse splits. A forward split would mean we have what? We're going to get more shares, but each share will be worth less in value. We're reducing the stock price to make the stock more attractive for the average investors. An even split like 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, or even an uneven split is possible. And here's another example of them asking you questions on math on the test. You could be asked to figure this out. So let's remember the formula. First off, we're going to multiply the number of shares by the first number. Then we're going to divide that number by the second number. Remember, we gave you an example of that in the class. Remember, it doesn't matter whether it's a forward split or a reverse split. We use the same formula. To figure out the new value of the shares, we simply divide the value of the new shares by the number of shares. And remember that in a stock split, the value should be exactly the same. So the moment before and the moment after the stock split, you should theoretically have the exact same amount of money in your account. You just have what? In a forward split, you have more shares, but each share has less value. In a reverse split, here, the company is trying to raise the price of the stock to keep it from being delisted because it doesn't meet the criteria of an exchange. So in this case, you're going to have fewer shares, but the value of each share is increased. Now, once again, the math is exactly the same. You're going to do what? You're going to multiply the number of shares by the first number and then divide by the second number. And once again, the value of each share would be what? Your total value divided by the number of shares. We talked about that when we went through the class. Hope everybody understands that. Make sure you got a good handle on that.